This is a video I'm doing. I want to show off some real Flint Ridge and some fake Flint Ridge artifacts. I'm also made a few points that I'm going to show them. Here's another fake Flint Ridge piece. Now this is like big sandy points. I'm going to show these two big sandies. I got two real ones and two fake ones here. Here's a fake one, and one way you can tell it's fake in a lot of different ways, but it's not really a super bad fake. But one thing to watch out for, you can see right there, the bottom is not ground very good. It's kind of jagged, and I'd say about 80% of the time, big sandy style points are ground. So that's a red flag. Another thing is the color. Whenever you get this colorful Flint Ridge, I would say 80% of the time, it was done by the woodland people. They used the majority of it, but early archaic points made out of colorful Flint Ridge is another red flag. Doesn't mean it's fake, but it's just there's less of them. Most time it's chalcedony or something more basic. If you look in the corners, I don't know if how good this camera zooms up, but you can see there's not an adequate amount of mineralization and wear. You can still kind of see a little bit of hinges in there. You can see it in this corner too, a little bit. It's still a little bit hingy. It looks like someone's trying to put artificial patina on it or soaked it in mineral oil or something to try to, make it look a little bit glossy. But I'm not seeing anything of significant mineralization. I don't think that's actual mineralization. So in my opinion, that's a nicely made fake. If they would have covered this up a little bit more, ground the base, it would have been a much better fake. But pretty much rule out it's a fake because of the hinging and the lack of a ground base. It's not that all big sandies have ground bases. It's just that there's more factors against this piece than for it. Being colorful Flint Ridge, still having hinges in the corner, and having no basal grinding, that's enough to rule it as a well-made fake. Here's the one that's a little bit less nice. It's a little more obvious, and you can see the fresh crushing in the corner right there. They didn't even try to cover it up. It's also made out of, looks like nethers, Flint Ridge. And it's not that they never made them out of nethers. I have an authentic one made out of nethers. But again, the base is lightly ground, but not enough for a big sandy. And there's not enough mineralization on it. Has a lack of mineralization. Still has, you can see in the corners here, some of the crushing, a little bit of still fresh crushing on it. Now in some layers you do find points with still hanging hinges and sand layers, but most of the time these points are found in fields where there's a lot of clay, so it does have an iron deposits. Sometimes you'll find a piece on the riverbank that doesn't have a whole lot of mineralization because of what it's preserved in sand. But that's another example of a modern. And this one's kind of made right. It's just they didn't really grind the base enough, and they didn't try to patinate it enough. Some people will soak these in oil, like mineral oil, to try to hide the hinges and then patinate them. Here's another example. This is a point I got decent while ago. It was in a group. I got it in a bundle group. I wasn't paying attention when I got it, but when I got home and looked at it more, this is artificial patina. This is not real patina right there. I never see patina that looks like that. It comes off in your fingers real easy. It's just like little specks that's been applied to it. Sometimes when you're at shows and you buy in bulk, you don't pay attention. When you get home, you find out you got a fake. This is another example. This one's been artificially aged though, but it doesn't. These little black spots are not consistent with Ohio artifacts. It looks like nothing I've seen from Ohio. Also, the workmanship's a little bit off on it. It kind of looks like a Hopewell knife or a dovetail preforms, but they probably were going to make a dove out of it, just made a blade. That's also a reproduction, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to go to two ancient ones. And this one is an ancient. And you can look in the corners here. You can see it has wear. The base is slightly ground. This is a big sandy style. It's got a mustard yellow and purple vein going through it. but you can see the definite patina in this piece, you know, compared to the other ones. It's also worn real nicely. You can't really, it's hard to fake some of the wear when you see a real one versus a fake one. You can compare it, you know, you can see the differences. There's more wear on this point, it's glossier. And here's another one. This one's been papered by Davis. Now this one is Nethers, but it's one of the few authentic Big Sandies I've ever seen made out of Nethers. Highly ground base on it. Great colors on it. Let's see if I can zoom up on it. This one has wear on it. You know, it's not super obvious. I mean, it's not like, but if you compare them, how they're made too, this one's more, looks more ancient. This one's more of a stamped out look. A lot of times points can look too perfect when they're modern because they're done with slabs, or they're using modern tools, and they're using deer antler to make these, so they're a little bit asymmetrical when they're you know, a lot of times when they're ancient. Now I can even show you some pieces I made using Aboriginal tools. They're not very well made. Just because a point though is asymmetrical doesn't mean that it's ancient. You have to look at it further, you know, because sometimes maybe you're dealing with more of an amateur flint knapper. But this one's been authenticated by Davis, and I do trust his opinion on these. This is a very rare one though, made out of this color. I've had pretty high offers on this one, but I won't sell it. It's made right, everything's right about it. Just because it's colorful doesn't mean it's fake. You have to look deeper into it. Main thing you're looking for is hinging, or lack of patina, or in certain styles there'll be ground bases or certain characteristics you're looking for, and sometimes people will not have those. And here's two examples. These are Hopewell points. They're not, I had a real nice Big Sandy I made a long time ago, and really these are accurately made. I mean, they're made like ancient ones when I was making them, because I used, you know, ancient tools. I used hammerstone and deer antler. The problem is, you know, you still see the hinging and the lack of patina. And here's another Hopewell I made out of hornstone. Same thing, hinging, lack of patina. I could soak these in a mineral oil to hide some of the hinging if I was wanting the fake stuff, but I don't. I do it for learning purposes. But you know, these are more accurate. I'm not the best flint knapper in the world. I'm a little better now than I was back then when I made this, but still I'm not a master flint knapper. I just do it for fun. But you know, just because a point is made ancient also doesn't make it an ancient artifact. You have to look deeper into it. It's a multi-layered thing on flint artifacts, and really the best thing you can do is just handle field grade or handle broken. You know, maybe if you're going to buy a Clovis point or something along those lines, you want to really just buy a broken one at first and study that before you start buying the real expensive ones, because you'll get a feel of it. And you'll a lot of times anciently ground bases, even if a modern ground base is a little bit rougher, a little bit more like a sandy or rougher feeling, and it's been in the ground for a long time, it will sometimes feel like butter. It'll be really smooth. So it's a few pointers. I just figured I'd make a video on authentic. Now, whenever you're dealing with colorful Flint Ridge in general, you have to be extremely skeptical of it. Most of the stuff I've seen that's really colorful is woodland. You know, the Adina and Hopewell made the majority of it. But you do get archaic pieces made out of it, like dovetails and thieves points. But, you know, a lot of times they're pretty obviously old, you know, and you don't have to worry about them. This piece right here, you know, it could fool, I mean, it could go either way, I would say. But, you know, Davis did look it over, and he papered it, and, you know, I've scoped it, and it does check out as being authentic. And I won't hardly let go of it, because it's really hard to find an authentic archaic point with that color in it right there. So, at a Flint Ridge. Well, I'm gonna get off here. I figure I'd share this video. Later.